Good morning, Transit. How are you feeling this morning? Woo! Man, there is a ton of energy in the room. I love it. I think that's because we got some special guests with us this morning. Give it up one more time for our rising sixth grade class here. That's right. Oh, y'all, we are so excited that you guys are here. We can't wait 2 more weeks from today when you will officially be in transit. We have been getting ready for you for a long time, and we can't wait to get to know you guys over the next 3 years. But this isn't the only special group we have in the room. Also, let's give it up for the parents in the back. Give it up for them. Parents, we are so happy that you guys are here, and we are so thankful that you have chosen to trust us with your students over the next 3 years. And we can't wait to start getting to know them through Sunday mornings and camps and all the fun stuff that we have coming up here for them in transit. So thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Well, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Kevin, and I'm on staff here with Transit. And I'm going to share with you guys a little bit today. But before we even get started, I want to know, does anybody have a trip or a vacation that they're looking forward to here in summer, right? Summer is, okay, a lot of you, yep. What about, where are you going? Where are you going? The beach, okay. Anybody else? What about you? Where are you going? New York. New York, oh, that's good. I used to live up in New York for a little bit. That's awesome. Yeah, what about you right there? Florida. What are you doing special in Florida? Anything? Go and see your cousins. That's awesome. Go to see family. That is awesome. Well, I'm sure I saw a lot of hands in the room. You guys, probably a lot of people have some trips they're looking forward to this summer. Maybe some of you haven't gotten to go on a trip in a while because of COVID, and so you are excited to finally be free and get to go travel and do some stuff. I know that our family is. In fact, my wife and my kids and I are heading out right after this service. We're heading down to Florida. We love the theme parks, right? So we're going to Universal. We love Universal Studios, Disney, all that stuff. We're going there and then to the beach a little bit. But I want to tell you about a trip that I took 6 years ago to Walt Disney World with my family. Now, 6 years ago at Disney, I can already see my son is rolling his eyes. He's in here, he's in the room, but he was 6 years old at the time. He was so sweet and cute. His small group will have to ask me for some pictures. I got some of that for him. And then our youngest was 4. And so we already loved Disney World, but we decided this was like the perfect ages to do like this big blowout trip. And so we planned this big trip. We were down there for 12 days and we did all the parks and did all the different stuff. It was so incredible. And the whole time leading up to it, I was so excited about this trip. I'm a big time planner. And so I'm planning like all the different details and everything about this trip. And I just couldn't wait to get to Disney. I was like, this is going to be the greatest vacation ever. And for weeks and weeks and really even months leading up to this trip, that is all that I could think about. And it's the only thing that was on my mind. And all I wanted to do was just fast forward through everything else to get to that destination, to that spot when we were finally in the parks and at Walt Disney World. And maybe for you, you guys have had things like that before too, where you just you want to fast forward through something to get to something you're excited about. Maybe it's a vacation that you have coming up this summer. Maybe you're like, I just want to get through this last week of school and I just want to get to that point where I'm on that vacation. Or maybe you can think of a time when you were excited about a trip like that. Or maybe for you, it's like a season in your life. We have these seasons in our lives that sometimes we just think we just want to get to the next thing. And once I get to there, then everything will be great and I'll have arrived and I'll have made it to my destination. Maybe for y'all, as you got ready to come up to transit into 6th grade, you just wanted to fast forward through this 5th grade year. And you're like, I just want to get out of elementary. I just want to get to middle school. And you would have just skipped ahead right to there if you could have. Some of you in middle school here, maybe for you, it's you just can't wait to get to high school. Or maybe it's you can't wait until you graduate. And you're like, once I get to here, once I get to this place or this time in my life, I will have made it. And I can finally relax, or I can finally do what I want to do, or whatever it is for you. You may have something like that. And the funny thing is that sometimes we can think of our faith the same way too, can't we? Sometimes faith can seem like a destination, right? Our faith can seem like a destination that we're trying to get to. Or maybe for some of you, it's a destination you feel like, well, I've already arrived, right? So I've had this moment where I made a decision. I put my faith in Jesus and his death and his resurrection. So, I mean, I'm covered. I'm saved. I'm good. I've arrived at my destination. Or maybe for some of you, you look at faith a little bit different and you think, well, there's a destination I want to get to, but I'm not there quite yet. Maybe for you, it's a time when it's like, well, maybe at some point I won't have so many questions about everything. And when I read the Bible, I won't have a million different questions. When I get there, that's when I'll have kind of arrived at my faith. Or maybe for you, it's about like, hey, I do believe, and there was a moment I put my trust in Jesus, but man, I mess up all the time. And I keep messing up over and over and over again. And maybe my faith will really be there when I finally can stop messing up so much. Or maybe for you, it's more about your age and your place right now. And you're like, I just can't wait till I can lead in my faith. I'm tired of being led by other people. I want to be the leader in my faith. And when I get there, that's it. That's where I'm trying to get to. And we think of those places and we just kind of want to skip ahead and fast forward ahead until we get to that point. But the thing is, our faith is nothing like that at all. Our faith is not a destination to be reached, to be gotten to. And Paul talks a little bit about this. And if you have been in transit for a little while, you know Paul because we talk about him all the time. And Upstreet, you guys have probably heard of Paul as well from Upstreet. But Paul, just to let you know him a little bit, Paul was one of the original kind of founding fathers, if you will, of the Christian faith. And after Jesus' death and resurrection, Paul was this guy who spread the news of Jesus' resurrection all over the world. And one of the reasons that we know about it today is because of Paul and his leadership. And he led and he wrote letters to all kinds of churches in the area at that time. And in one of those letters, he's writing to this church in a place called Philippi. He's writing this letter and he's telling them all this stuff about how they should live their lives. He's telling them about how they can model their lives to be more like Christ, how they can do better basically and be more like him. And he realized he's telling them all these things, but he stops for a second at one point and he kind of points inward and talks about himself a little bit. And I imagine he probably did that because he realized he's telling them all these things that maybe they think that he's coming from a place where he has already arrived. And so Paul says this in Philippians 3. He says, not that I have already obtained this or am already perfect. He's pointing out right away, hey, guy, I know I'm telling you all these things that you can do to be more like Christ, but I want you to know I haven't arrived there yet. I haven't already obtained this. I'm not perfect. He goes on, he says, but I press on to make it my own because Christ Jesus made me his own. So he's like, hey, I'm not perfect. I haven't arrived there yet. There's no destination in my faith that I've reached. Even though we would say this is one of the greatest leaders in church history, he says, I'm not perfect, but I press on. Or another way of saying that, or I keep moving forward. Because see, Paul knew that faith wasn't some place he was going to get to. It wasn't some one-time decision that it was like, okay, and now I'm good. He knew the truth. That faith is a journey. Faith is a journey, and it's a lifelong journey. It begins really the minute you start thinking about God at all or having questions about God or about the Bible or about who Jesus is, all of those things, all of those questions. That is like kind of the foundation of your faith journey. And of course, there's a very pivotal moment in your faith journey when you make the decision to put your trust in the death and resurrection of Jesus. And that is a huge, pivotal moment in your faith journey. But it's not the beginning, and it's certainly not the end of your journey of faith. Now, when we talk about a faith journey, you may have heard that before. That can kind of be like this abstract language that's kind of hard to understand. It's like, well, I know what a trip to Disney World is, but what is a faith trip? What is a faith journey? What does that even mean? And so if I were to kind of describe to you what is a faith journey, in kind of my own words, once you've put your faith in the death and resurrection of Jesus, here's how I would describe your faith journey. You begin this relationship with Jesus, and then it's all about how you allow your relationship with Jesus to influence other areas of your life. Right? From that moment on, it's all about how will I allow my relationship with Jesus to continue influencing more and more areas of my life. And maybe for you, that's your thought life, the things that you think about to yourself in private that nobody else knows about. Maybe for you, that's the way you feel about other people and the things that you think about other people. Maybe it's the decisions that you make, the actions that you do. Maybe for you, it's the way that you treat other people. But our faith journey is a process ongoing throughout our entire lives of how can we continue more and more and more to allow our relationship with Jesus to influence other areas of our lives. And so, Paul knew that. Paul knew that, hey, it's not some place I'm going to get to. It's not this perfection I'm trying to get to. It's I just need to keep pressing on. I need to press on. Or, what we said before, and my challenge for you guys, 6th and 7th graders, as you head into another year of transit, 5th graders, as you come up and 2 weeks from today become our new 6th grade class here, and you've got 3 years of transit ahead of you. My challenge to each and every one of you when it comes to your faith is very simple. It's simply this: just keep moving forward. Don't worry about the final destination that you've got to get to. Don't worry about some lofty goal off in the future. Just keep taking one step after another. Keep moving forward in your faith. And the great thing is that here in Transit, we are going to give you a ton of ways to do that. We're going to give you a ton of ways to move forward in your faith, whether it's practical teaching here from the stage that you can use, whether it's incredible worship time that you can use to grow closer to God and to feel his presence more, or your small group time in your small group room where you get to sit and discuss things going on in life. Or just one of the greatest things is your small group leaders who show up each and every week and pour into you and love you. Use them to help you keep moving forward. We're going to give you all kinds of opportunities. All you have to do is show up, dive in, and take advantage of the opportunities that we'll give you to help you keep moving forward in your faith.